Okay, let's unpack this immediately because the atmosphere we're dealing with today is just unprecedented.
Right, absolutely, it's intense.
Right. I mean, you step into the Formula One paddock right now, ahead of this 2026 Monaco Grand Prix, and that predictable clinical tension you usually feel before a race weekend, well, it's completely gone.
Yeah, it's been replaced by pure panic.
Exactly. So my question for you is, why is everyone in the paddock suddenly acting like Monaco 2026 is a survival horror game instead of a motor race?
Because, well, it essentially is one at this point. I mean, the anxiety you're feeling radiating out of these garages is entirely justified.
Right.
The grid is looking at a machine that fundamentally was not built to survive the streets of Monte Carlo. Like, the 2026 regulations didn't just tweak the
They
aerodynamics.
completely rewrote the formula.
Exactly. They completely rewrote the DNA of how a Formula One car generates and delivers power.
Right, and we have exclusive internal data, telemetry readouts, and paddock intelligence that paint a genuinely terrifying picture of what's about to happen.
Yeah, the power unit data is wild.
It is. We're looking at a power unit where the 50-50 split is now a reality. Half the car's power is the internal combustion engine, but the other half,
The really aggressive half.
yeah, a massive chunk of the overall output comes from the electrical system, the MGUK.
Right, which means you're dealing with pure, instant, unadulterated electric torque.
Just massive power instantly.
Exactly. And to make matters infinitely more complicated for Monaco, the FIA has mandated a really highly restrictive mode for this weekend. It's called Rev 1.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that term Rev 1 floating around the internal engineering debriefs we pulled, but I need you to explain the mechanics of it.
Correct.
Like, what does Rev 1 actually do to the power unit? Because looking at the data, it looks like it's just neutering the cars.
It's an incredibly aggressive software map, basically.
Right.
Under normal conditions on a standard track,
Mm.
these 2026 cars will easily touch 350 kilometers per hour. But Rev 1 aggressively throttles the MGUK deployment in the higher gears. Like,
Like
it
for-
imposes a hard cap. The maximum speed is strictly limited to 290 kilometers per hour.
Wait, really? So it's artificially limiting the electrical output at the top end?
Exactly.
Because I was looking at the telemetry traces coming out of the tunnel, and right at 200 kilometers per hour, the acceleration curve just completely flatlines.
Yeah, it hits a literal wall.
It looks broken. Why does it look so broken?
Well, because of the battery depletion rules dictated by that 50-50 split, that flat line you're looking at, that's what the engineers are calling the clip.
The clip, okay.
Yeah, and it is the defining nightmare of the 2026 regulations. The software has to forcibly stop electrical deployment on the straights.
Oh, to save energy.
Right, to ensure there is enough harvested energy in the battery to actually punch out of the next corner.
Okay, so it's essentially like a sprinter blasting off the blocks, but you tell them they have to hold their breath for the last 20 meters of a 100-meter dash.
That's the perfect way to look at it.
Like, the explosive energy is there initially, but the sustained aerobic power just violently shuts off.
It just cuts. The MGUK literally just cuts out.
Yeah.
And the driver's helmet physically pitches forward because the loss of acceleration is so abrupt.
Oh man, that sounds awful.
It is. The car feels incredibly sluggish, heavy, practically asthmatic at the end of these short Monaco straights.
Yeah.
But here is the lethal part.
Okay, what is it?
You hit the brakes, you navigate the hairpin, you get on the throttle for the exit, and there is zero turbo lag.
Oh, it's just an explosion of torque.
It is incredibly violent.
Yeah.
You brush the throttle pedal a millimeter too aggressively on the exit of Sainte-Devote, and that electric motor dumps hundreds of horsepower directly to the rear wheels.
In like a fraction of a second.
Exactly.
Oh.
Now connect the mechanics to the environment. The drivers are managing cold tires, right? Because Monaco doesn't have the long, high-speed sweeping corners required to build core tire temperature.
Right, so you have cold rubber.
Cold rubber, combined with a car that dies on the straights and then suddenly turns into a 1,000 horsepower bucking Bronco out of the slow corners.
That sounds like a disaster. I mean, the simulator data we got from Franco Colapinto was incredibly blunt.
Yeah, he didn't hold back.
Not at all. His internal feedback called the 2026 car 100% more difficult to drive here compared to the previous generation. Literally 100%.
I believe it. And, we saw a preview of this exact low-grip chaos at the start of the Canada GP.
Oh, yeah, the cars are all over the place.
They were squirming under traction, totally unpredictable, constantly locking the rears under engine braking. But the thing is, in Canada, you have runoff areas.
You make a mistake, you take to the grass.
Right. In Monaco, the Armco barriers are inches from your tires. You have absolutely zero margin for error here.
And you had to tame this clipping monster, 78 times in a row on Sunday?
Exactly. You brush the barrier once, and your race is over. The attrition rate this Sunday is going to be astronomical.
Which is exactly why we need to talk about the one guy who is defying this entire mathematical probability.
Yes, we do.
In a race where sheer survival against these brutal cars is the absolute main objective, we need to look at Franco Colapinto.
Yeah.
Because this guy simply refuses to DNF.
It is the most remarkable, quiet statistic in modern Formula One right now.
It really is.
I mean, it goes against everything we are seeing with these new cars.
22 consecutive Grand Prix finishes without a single retirement. I'm going to repeat that for you because it's insane. 22.
It's unheard of in this era.
The last time Colapinto registered a non-finish was way back on December 8th, 2024 in Abu Dhabi. And even that was a mechanical failure completely out of his control.
Right, the gearbox issue.
Exactly. Up until Montreal, George Russell was the only other driver matching this consistency.
Yep, Russell put his Mercedes in the wall in Canada.
He did.
He couldn't handle the exact snap oversteer characteristics we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And that crash leaves Colapinto entirely alone at the absolute pinnacle of the reliability statistics.
And let's be incredibly clear about the machinery he used to build this record, too. Like, he didn't do this cruising around in a bulletproof Red Bull at the front of the grid in clean air.
Oh, far from it.
He started the streak in the 2025 Alpine, which was, quite frankly, a tractor.
It was terrible.
It was the worst car on the grid. He dragged that machine to the finish line every single weekend, fighting in the dirtiest air possible in the midfield.
And he didn't crash once.
Never. And he's maintained that streak right through the regulation changes into the current 2026 Alpine with the Mercedes engine. So I gotta ask you, how?
It's a great question.
Like, is a 23-year-old actively engineering these finishes by nursing the car in ways 10-year veterans aren't?
Well, finishing a modern Formula One race, especially with these 2026 regulations, is an intensely proactive exercise. It's not about driving slowly.
Right, because if you drive slowly...
If you drive slowly in these cars, your tire core temperatures plummet, your grip vanishes, and you end up in the wall even faster.
So what is he doing differently in the cockpit then?
He is operating with immense mental bandwidth. While other drivers are purely reacting to the car snapping, Colapinto is actively monitoring his brake temperatures in dirty air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he is dynamically altering his brake bias rotary dials corner by corner to protect the front tires from thermal degradation in the slow sections.
Corner by corner, that's intense.
It is. He is meticulously feeling the mechanical grip limits of a wildly unpredictable chassis and choosing in fractions of a second not to cross that threshold.
And to do that 22 times in a row through a massive regulation change, I mean, it proves he has an exceptionally mature racing IQ.
Without a doubt.
But that brings up a massive contradiction inside the Alpine garage right now. Colapinto clearly has the consistency to survive, but does he have the machine to fight for actual points?
Well, that's the real drama.
Yeah, because when we rip open what's happening behind closed doors at Alpine, there is a legitimate internal war over the A526 chassis development.
There is. And the internal telemetry shows Pierre Gasly and Colapinto are actually giving identical feedback on the car's behavior.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they both feel the instability. But in Canada, Gasly took a massive gamble. He demanded the engineering team run a mixed setup.
Right. He bolted the brand new aero package onto the old floor specification, which is wild. Why would a veteran driver demand an outdated floor?
Because the old floor produces more predictable underbody pressure shifts at low speeds.
Okay, that makes sense.
The new floor generates more absolute peak downforce, but it is incredibly sensitive to ride height changes. Like, it's very peaky.
Got it.
Gasly was desperately searching for low-speed mechanical traction he could actually trust. Meanwhile, Colapinto kept the standard new package, peaky downforce and all, and absolutely dominated his teammate.
Back-to-back phenomenal weekends, too. Miami and then that career-best P6 in Canada.
It was masterclass.
And we have the internal debriefs from Alpine boss Oliver Nielsen. The messaging coming out of the executive level is crystal clear.
Yeah, no magic parts.
Exactly. There are no magic parts hidden on Colapinto's car. He doesn't have some secret experimental upgrade that Gasly lacks.
Nielsen confirmed it. Colapinto simply found the setup click.
A click.
Yeah, he adapted his driving style to the new aerodynamic reality of the A526 faster than a seasoned race winner. It's just raw, innate adaptability. He figured out how to drive around the peakiness of the new floor.
Okay, but I have to push back hard on the team dynamics here because this makes zero sense from a competitive standpoint.
How so?
Well, if Colapinto is actively outperforming Gasly right now,
Right.
if he's the one finding the click while Gasly is rummaging through the old parts bin for a floor, he understands.
Right.
Why is Gasly locked into a multi-year contract for 2027 while Colapinto is still fighting for a seat? Like, what kind of game is Flavio Briatore playing by leaving his best-performing driver hanging?
It's a masterpiece of market suppression.
Market suppression.
Yeah, you have to look at the cold, ruthless economics of F1 contract negotiations. Briatore is actively suppressing his own driver's immediate value.
Wait, weaponizing his rookie status against his own contract value? Like, explain the mechanics of that?
Well, think about it from the team's perspective. Alpine knows they have a generational, highly adaptable talent maturing in their garage right now.
Obviously.
If Briatore hands Colapinto a massive, multi-year, big-money contract right after a P6 in Canada, he sets the market rate astronomically high.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he instantly makes Colapinto one of the highest-paid drivers on the grid.
So by dragging his feet.
Exactly. By keeping Colapinto hungry, by making him fight for the seat week after week, Alpine achieves two distinct things.
What are they?
First, they allow him to mature in the midfield without the crushing, paralyzing pressure of being the anointed franchise savior.
Which ruins a lot of young drivers.
It really does. And second, they keep his market value artificially contained before they inevitably lock him down. It is cold, it is calculating, and it is a classic Briatore masterclass in driver management.
But that is brilliantly evil. Like, they are reaping all the benefits of his 22-race finishing streak and a P6 finish while paying him rookie rates and keeping him desperate.
That is the brutal reality of Formula One.
Unbelievable. But look, while Alpine is waging this psychological warfare in the midfield, the battle for the actual win this Sunday in Monaco rests on an incredibly obscure, fascinating technical loophole involving Ferrari.
Oh, you're talking about the DUO regulation.
Yes. Development and update opportunities. I really need you to break down exactly how this rule works.
Absolutely.
Because right now, our internal telemetry shows Ferrari has roughly a 4% power deficit compared to the Mercedes power units. Like, they are visibly lacking straight line punch.
They are, yeah.
Yet everyone in the paddock is absolutely terrified of Maranello this weekend. Why?
Okay, so first let's explain DUO. The FIA instituted the Development and Update Opportunities Regulation as a strict cost cap measure.
Right, to stop unlimited spending.
Exactly. You cannot just bring an engine upgrade whenever you want anymore. Engine development is totally frozen, except for specific scheduled homologation windows where you can spend allocated tokens to upgrade the power unit.
And Ferrari has their windows mapped out perfectly, don't they?
They do. Internal data indicates Ferrari has a massive engine update locked and loaded for the Austria Grand Prix.
Wow.
And their simulations show that update will slice that 4% deficit right in half. And then a final token spend slated for the Dutch Grand Prix that should, theoretically, close the power gap to Mercedes completely to zero.
And we really cannot understate the ripple effect of this. This isn't just about the red cars at the front of the grid.
No, it affects half the field.
Right. This upcoming engine upgrade is massive news for client teams like Haas and Cadillac who buy Ferrari engines and are absolutely desperate for that extra straight-line horsepower to fight in the midfield.
But here's the twist. Here is why the paddock is staring at the Ferrari garage with absolute dread this weekend.
Why?
For Monaco, that 4% engine deficit is completely 100% irrelevant.
Wait, because of Rev 1?
Exactly. You don't need top speed here. The FIA is forcibly capping everyone at 290 kilometers per hour anyway.
So Mercedes is just trapped.
Yep. Mercedes can't use their extra 4% power because the software map simply won't let them. What you actually need to win in Monaco is immense aerodynamic downforce, mechanical grip over the bumps, and rapid rotation at the apex.
Which is Ferrari's specialty.
It is. The Ferrari SF26 chassis is an absolute aerodynamic masterpiece in slow corners.
So let me get this straight. Ferrari basically built a brilliant cornering machine that is completely asthmatic on the straights.
Yes.
Which ironically makes the tight, twisty, slow streets of Monaco their absolute perfect hunting ground because the FIA's Rev 1 mode naturally nerfs the advantage of every other engine manufacturer on the grid.
You're looking at a championship-defining scenario right now.
That is insane.
The SF26 suspension geometry and anti-dive characteristics allow their aerodynamic platform to remain perfectly stable over the brutal Monaco bumps. They are massive favorites alongside McLaren and Mercedes this weekend.
Why?
And exploiting the DUO regulation later in Austria and Zandvoort sets Ferrari up for a devastating high-speed second half of the championship. But Monaco is the one race on the calendar where their chassis alone can outright win it before those engine reinforcements even arrive.
That's a perfect storm for Maranello, which brings all of these chaotic elements crashing together into what we are calling the Monaco tipping point.
The tipping point.
Yeah. You've got chaotic, violently torque-heavy 2026 cars that actively want to snap into the Armco barriers. You've got Colapinto's unbelievable consistency in an Alpine that shouldn't be finishing this high.
Right.
And you've got Ferrari trying to steal a win purely on slow corner aero. How does this actually play out on Sunday? Because the models we're looking at are wild.
Let's look at the sheer mathematics of the chaos. On a normal wide-open track like Silverstone or Spa, Alpine's chances of a podium are statistically under 1%.
Yeah, they're a midfield team at best.
Exactly. They're a midfield team with a peaky floor. But in Monaco, with the sheer brutality of the 2026 regulations, our internal models push that podium probability up to 10, maybe even 20%.
A 20% chance for an Alpine podium. Are you serious?
Because the variability is off the charts. We're expecting multiple red flags. We're expecting a barrage of safety cars.
Pure payout.
We are fully expecting top-tier seasoned drivers to make catastrophic mistakes because they misjudged that MGUK energy clip on the exits.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Just look at the historical precedent. Last year, Colapinto started P20 in a truly terrible car and purely navigated the carnage to finish P13. Now he's in the fifth fastest car, and the team has firmly targeted a top 10 finish.
And we really cannot ignore the psychological factor driving him this weekend either. Colapinto lives in Monaco.
Yep, it's his backyard.
He literally watched the Armco barriers being bolted together on his morning commute. And the energy around him in the paddock right now is nuclear. I mean, did you see the internal security feeds from Wednesday's media day?
Oh, it was unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it.
The Monaco paddock is historically the most exclusive, lockdown, ultra-corporate piece of real estate in global sports. It's strictly billionaires, sponsors, and VIPs.
Right, very sterile.
Yet somehow, hordes of Latin American and Argentine fans completely infiltrated the ultra-exclusive paddock perimeter just to see him. Add to that, he just celebrated his 23rd birthday in Paris.
The momentum is unreal.
The guy's confidence is at an absolute stratospheric peak right now. So I have to ask you, does living in Monaco and seeing the barriers go up actually make you faster, or are we just like romanticizing the home advantage?
Oh, we aren't romanticizing it at all. It is a highly measurable psychological advantage.
Really?
Driving a street circuit is a visceral subconscious experience. When a driver is intimately familiar with the exact undulation of the asphalt outside their apartment window,
Right.
when they know exactly how the light changes and filters through the buildings at Casino Square at exactly 3:03 Waro p.m., the subconscious intimidation factor of those steel walls just vanishes.
Because they aren't driving in a cage, they are driving in their living room.
Precisely. In Q3 on Saturday, when the adrenaline is maxed out, when the tires are cold and the MGUK is threatening to snap the rear end into the wall, that subconscious visual familiarity is exactly where you find that crucial extra tenth of a second.
It's instinct at that point.
It's the difference between consciously reacting to the track and purely anticipating it. And in a 2026 car that is actively fighting you, anticipation is the only way to survive.
So here we are. The pressure cooker is sealed, the telemetry is loaded, and the heat is incredibly real.
It's going to be a wild weekend.
You have Colapinto driving for his 2027 life, dealing with Briatore's contract suppression, and carrying a historic 22-race finishing streak into the most unforgiving layout on Earth.
Unbelievable storylines.
You have Ferrari trying to execute an aerodynamic masterstroke, banking on their flawless slow corner chassis before their engine upgrades arrive. And hovering above it all is the terrifying reality of these new 2026 electrical regulations, a brutal, violent torque delivery that threatens to put half the grid into the barriers.
It's going to be a brutal race of attrition, high-stakes strategy, and pure, unfiltered nerve.
Which leaves us with one final lingering thought for you to mull over as the lights prepare to go out this Sunday.
What's that?
If Franco Colapinto survives the Monaco chaos and extends his immaculate record to 23 consecutive races, while seasoned, multi-million-dollar world champions put their 2026 cars into the barriers simply because they can't handle the new electrical torque.
Oh, man.
Does the entire Formula One driver market completely implode? Will teams be forced to stop throwing massive contracts at the established superstars of yesterday and instead prioritize the highly adaptable, fearless rookies who can actually tame this brutal new era of racing?
That is the question. The telemetry won't lie. We're about to find out exactly who can handle the torque and who is going straight into the wall.
Keep your eyes on the data. We'll see you on the other side of the checkered flag.